Hey everyone, welcome to Zoetic-chat, Unleash Your Life's Journey with me, John Mayfield. This ultimate podcast for spiritual guidance will answer all your life, soul and spiritual questions. I'm thrilled to have you join me every week. My vast knowledge, wisdom and experience are crucial to your personal and spiritual growth. Together we will explore a variety of topics and delve deeply into the truths of my life and spiritual path. Don't forget to sign up to my newsletter at johnmayfield.com. Hey everyone, welcome to this exciting Season 2, Episode 3. This is the first episode of a two-part series on mediumship. My name's John Mayfield and I'm thrilled to have you here. Mediumship is a fascinating and transformative journey that connects the physical and spiritual realms in many profound ways. Today we'll explore the essence, dispel common myths, and lay a foundation for understanding what it means to be a medium. Whether you're a complete beginner, someone curious about the spirit world, or someone who has already had experiences that you can't explain, this episode is for you. By the end of our time together, you'll have a clearer sense of what mediumship is, what it isn't, and how you can enrich your life. Let's dive in. So first of all, I'll tell you that I'm recording this episode in the center of the woods. Now in the woods, the floor is covered in rich golden and red leaves that have fallen off of the trees. But amongst them, there's little shoots coming up now. All the greenery is starting to grow. The trees are really tall, reaching up to the blue sky, like their branches are like arms reaching up for the sun. And the sun is shining today. It is cold and there is a little frost on the ground. And I'm sitting on a log of a big branch of a tree that's fallen over. But let's carry on. Let's start by addressing some of the common misconceptions about mediumship. One of the biggest myths is that mediums conjure spirits and interfere with the natural order of things. Now, this couldn't be further from the truth. Mediumship is not about forcing spirits to communicate. It's about being a bridge, a channel for messages that already want to come through. You know, we never try and force anyone that's passed over to do anything. The way that I work is that I always ask, is such and such there? Does such and such want to come through? Or you get a sense of an energy coming through naturally, and you then have to work out who it is, or they'll tell you who it is. Another misconception is that mediumship is scary or dangerous. Hollywood often portrays mediums in a sensationalized way, but in reality, connecting with spirit is a loving, gentle, and healing process. It's about bringing comfort, closure, and clarity to those people who have lost their loved ones. A question I often hear is, what's the difference between being a psychic and being a medium? Now, all mediums are psychic, but not all psychics are mediums. And I guess you've heard that many times, but I'm reiterating that for you. Psychics tune into energy, such as your aura or the energy of situations. Mediums, on the other hand, specifically connect with the spirit energy from those who have passed. Sometimes when you are a psychic medium, which is what I am, the two intermingle and you're never really sure if I'm doing a bit of psychic or I'm doing a bit of mediumship. Of course, I know whether I'm talking to or from a spirit energy that's passed over, but sometimes they just intermingle together. And it doesn't matter because what you're given is what you're being given to share with that person. So if you've been holding on to fears or doubts about mediumship, I hope all of this helps to ease your mind. Now, you know, what is the role of a medium? Everybody is going to have their own ideas on this. Everyone will have their own experiences, and I will just talk from my experience. As with all my other podcast episodes, it's all my experience. So now that we've cleared up some of the misconceptions, let's talk about the role of a medium and its core. Being a medium is about service. It's about acting as a bridge between the physical world and the spiritual world, delivering messages of love, guidance, and healing. It's also a role that requires a great responsibility. As a medium, you must approach your work with integrity and respect at all times. It's not about impressing people or proving anything. It's about being authentic and compassionate. There's an incredible amount of trust involved from the spirits, from the clients, and from yourself. I'd like to share with you a quick story. Yes, I'm just trying to think which story I'll share with you. Now, I'll share the one where so I used to have an actual physical building that I used as a business for healing therapies, massage, readings, and that kind of thing, holistic. And I remember one day the phone rang in the morning, and this lady said to me, "Can I come and see you, please?" Quite abrupt. And I said, yes, okay, you can come at, say, 2 o'clock. So there was a knock at the door at 2 o'clock, and in she came. Obviously, I'd got a phone number, but nothing else. I didn't even know her name. Anyway, she said, where would you like to sit, at a table or on the sofa? She said, on the sofa. So I'd got a black sofa, which had got some colourful cushions on it, and she moved those out of the way, and she sat down quite heavily. And I thought, I wonder what's going on here. Anyway, I said, have you got a particular focus? Is there anything particular you want me to look at for you? And why are you here? She said, just tell me what you've got. Just tell me what they want you to know. So I just took a moment, and I always take a deep breath into my belly and then an exhale, just 2 or 3 times whilst I'm connecting, especially if it's someone like that, that is very abrupt. Sometimes they can put you on an edge a little bit, but that's okay, because I'm here to give the messages. Can you hear the crows? I'm here to give the messages. So I said to the spirit world in my mind, please give me everything that this lady needs to hear today, and then we'll send her on her way to carry on with her life. So I was talking from a gentleman. I told her who he was. I told her all about his funeral. I told her about his children, his stepchildren, and things that had gone on in the life. But I'm more focused on the actual, funeral, and the room, and where the coffin was positioned, where the sunlight was coming in, what people were going to do and say. And I focused on the burial plot, what was around the burial plot, and all of that. And I told her quite a bit of information. Well, I was talking for 3/4 of an hour. And then she said, thank you very much. And she left. And I thought, well, that's the strangest thing. The strangest thing. She didn't want to natter. She didn't want to talk, nothing. But I thought, that's your way. That's what you want. Anyway, it went out of my mind. I didn't think anything else of it. Then about 10 days later, she phoned me up again. Could I come and see you, please? Yes, of course. Made a time, knock at the door, and she came, and she got a smile on her face today. And I said, are you all right? She says, yes, thank you. She says, I don't want any messages from anyone that's passed over. I just want to talk to you. So I said, okay, that's fine. So she started to talk to me. And the gentleman that I was speaking from had passed that morning. He hadn't had his funeral. And she told me that when I spoke about the stepchildren, everything that I said to her was what happened afterwards, and that she felt comfort knowing that it was going to happen. She felt comfort in the funeral, at the funeral service, because of the things that I told her, where the sun would shine, where the coffin would be, what certain people would be wearing. I shared all this with her. And she looked around, she said, and she felt comfort because she knew she'd been there before through my words and through his words. She even spotted the person that went over in their shoes. They were wearing high heels that were a little bit too high for them, and their heel went over. And she smiled, she said, to herself when that happened. Also, I told her about where a bird had dropped something onto one of the graves, the gravestone. I couldn't think of the word then. One of the gravestones, and I told her exactly what it looked like, and she saw it. There was a holly bush behind his grave, and she'd never been before, and there was so much information, she told me, that I'd given her, that it gave her such comfort. So that is one experience that I want to share with you, because it didn't make the passing of that gentleman that connected to her any better, or the grieving process any easier. But what it did do is gave her confirmation that that person's passing, he was able to come and tell her about things that hadn't happened, and he was able to tell her about things in her life through me. And it's moments, hours like this that remind me why I do this work. It's not about me. It's all about the connections and the healing that happens when we open ourselves to spirit. There are many types of mediums. The main ones I see are the church mediums. Now, church mediums often call themselves evidential mediums. They're the ones that stand in front of a congregation and they tell you what your granny's wearing, what your granddad's wearing, and things like that. They give you detailed information, evidence of the person that's passed over. And they also, in my opinion and from what I've seen, ask questions. Can you take that? Do you believe this? Did you see this? Are you understanding this? They ask all those types of questions. Do you know Chris? Oh, it might be Christine. Do you know, what did I hear last night when I was watching someone? Do you know a C name? Oh, it might be Craig, or it could be Chris. Do you know the C name? It could be male or female. To me, that's not evidence as such. It's evidence of a C name, but the person in the audience couldn't take or didn't know any of those names. So it kind of deflated the night, really. So that is what I see as an evidential medium. Now, I'm not someone that stands in front of people at a church and gives evidence like that. My mediumship and my psychic works together. You will see me working on social media, or you'll see me working in at events to an audience, standing on a stage, and I always deliver the same. I tell you that what I get through for you is for you, and you need to see where it fits in your life. So if I tell you the name Mary, for example, you will know or understand at that time or in the future where Mary fits into your life. It's not about me saying, can you take it? Do you understand it? It's about me trusting that the spirits are telling me exactly what you need to hear. So, for example, if I say Mary, you will go, oh yeah, my grandma. Or you might think to yourself, I'm not sure what that is. And then 3 weeks later, you'll talk to someone in a coffee shop and it will be Mary. You know, it all fits. So the psychic and the medium working together, for me, is how I do it. Now, sometimes when you get future things, you don't always know how long it's going to be before the person experiences it. And this morning when I was on TikTok doing my live, somebody came in and she said, you told me the colour orange and I know that's quite random, the colour orange so many months ago, I didn't know what the hell you was talking about. You didn't say anything else. You just said orange is significant. And she told me today that she wanted to buy a new car and she could only find one car that she liked, and it was orange. So that's where the orange fits in. You know, I could have said blue, I could have said green, I could have said rainbow, but I didn't. I said orange, and that's her car now. And so she said, thank you for kind of giving me that colour to confirm that that was the car that I should have, although I didn't say car. I can also see what people are wearing. I can see what colour their eyes are, I can see what their hair looks like, but I don't call myself an evidential medium because I feel that that boxes you. It boxes you in a place where you're just given that evidence from that person, where I like to give you all round information about your life in the future, in the past, and in the present. So I can't say that I'm an evidential medium, but I do bring evidence through that no one else could know. And also, I give a lot of on the spot evidence. Like, I remember yesterday when I was doing a live event on TikTok, and I said, oh, your grandma's showing me the doors opening. And she just laughed, this lady did. And she says, what do you mean? I said, I don't know. She's just saying the doors are opening. She says, I've just opened the door and walked into another room. So you're on the spot very often with the evidence. So that's how I work. I hear things, I see things, I get pictures coming out of the wall. As I'm sitting here now, I can see things in the trees, faces in the distance, things moving in the undergrowth which aren't really there and aren't moving to the normal, shall I say, naked eye. It's so exciting. I just love it. And I love to help you. I love to send healing to you from the spirits and the angels. It's just an amazing feeling. So I do run workshops on how to develop mediumship, psychic, how to connect to your loved ones. So I have a workshop called Mediumship and More. This is for people who need to be nurtured into the basics of everything, and then to be taken to be sitting next to a loved one or a guide, all within that workshop. That workshop is usually from 11 till 4, and everyone that's done it has ended up sitting next to a loved one, being gobsmacked, for want of a better word, at being able to connect to their loved ones. Such a beautiful workshop. But I've also got a kick-ass workshop. My next one of those is in March 2025. That is kick-ass, kicking you into touch. So I won't be nurturing you on that one. I will be saying, you need to do this, you need to do that. Say it like this, say it like that. No, you're not saying that right. Say it this way. And I will be talking to you like that. So if you're ready for a bit of kick-ass, let me get myself in gear. Or if you've been working as a medium and you're not really going in the way that you want to, or you're stuck, or you're plateauing, that will be the workshop for you. I also do spiritual and personal development as a membership. So people pay only £20 a month for 2 live Zoom sessions of 2 hours each, plus a WhatsApp group to support that. So that's what I teach. There are plenty of other ways that people will teach you mediumship. But what I would like to say is, look around, find the teacher that you resonate with, and it's not about the teacher. It's about the connection they bring from the universe, because the universe is teaching you, not the teacher. The teacher is the channel to say what they can, to help, to be giving you what you need. So really, teaching mediumship, learning mediumship is all about the basics. Meditation, grounding, energy, protection. Meditation helps to quieten your mind, making it easier to tune into the subtle energies of the spirits. Grounding keeps you centered and connected to the earth, which is essential, to maintain that balance. Protection is about healthy boundaries, ensuring that your energy remains your own. One of the first steps, in recognizing spirit messages is to pay attention to the subtle cues that might come into your psyche. A sudden thought or an image that feels significant, hearing a word or phrase in your mind, feeling a presence or change in the energy around you. When you hear the word or a phrase, it's like it doesn't come from your mind, human thinking. It kind of comes from somewhere else. And that's the space you need to work on. Where does that come into me? And trusting these moments is key to moving forward. It's a massive key to moving forward. Spirit communication, and often starts very subtly. You'll hear things, see things, know things. And the more you acknowledge and trust what you're being given, the more you receive a stronger connection. So if you're one of these people that says, I thought I saw my aunt, or I thought I heard my aunt's voice. Oh no, it can't be that. Then you're negating what you're getting, therefore they'll negate what they give you. If you hear your aunt's, oh my gosh, I just heard my aunt's voice, give me more, show me more, tell me more, then you will get more. Trusting these moments is key. So some of the simple exercises that you can do, one is to spend a few minutes each day in a quiet space, focusing on your breath. 4 in, but breathe into your belly, don't lift your shoulders up. Hold for 4, breathe out for 4. Into your belly, hold, out. So breathing like that, but slower and more gentle than that. Pay attention to any thoughts and feelings that you have, any sensations that come around you, any noise patterns or any changes. You know, I used to spend every single Friday at 2 p.m. when I'd finished work and before my children came home from school, I used to sit in the same chair with the same notebook, with the same pen, say, I'm ready. They'd give me thoughts, they'd give me words. And it came to a point where they were all standing there waiting for me. They'd be there before 2 o'clock and I'd be like, oh, let me make a drink. And, oh, I'm a bit late coming in. I'm here. Developing mediumship takes time, patience and practice, but the journey is worth it. You might see some people advertising that they can make you a professional medium within 5 weeks. I would argue the case that you need practice. You need to connect to the wisdoms and to be a professional medium, psychic, whatever you want to say. You can give messages after that length of time. Would I call you professional? I don't know. I'd question that because I think professionalism comes with experience and knowledge. But it's up to you. You know, you might be. You might call yourself that. You might feel that you are. I've never actually called myself a professional psychic medium. And I've been doing the work full time for over 30 years. The word just doesn't come out of my mind. Experienced, wise, connected, but professional has never come to me. I don't know why that is. Maybe that's something I need to ponder. Or maybe you know the answer. So let me just share a couple of experiences that have shaped my journey as a medium. Now, this isn't actually me doing the mediumship. I do a lot of trance work. So I trance the words of the spirits or the angels or the guides. So I just go into a really deep meditation. I begin to speak, but I record it because I don't know what I'm saying. So that's deep trance work. And my book, Zoetic Soul, the latter part of that was tranced in that way. Everything was recorded and then typed. So I learned to trance naturally. All of my work, all of my teachings, if you like, have come from spirit. They've come from the universe. They've come from a guide. They've come from God. They've come from somewhere, because I've never been into a teaching school to learn to become a medium or a psychic. I have the ability. I did sit in circles a little while, but I found them very cliquey and very one-upmanship. So I didn't stay in any of them very long. And I just carried on evolving, and I've evolved ever since. And I thank the universe for that. However, with my trance work, Yes, it came in naturally. Yes, the universe gave it to me. Yes, I tranced a book and many other things. And one day I was scrolling around the internet and something popped up. A famous, he calls himself famous. I think I need to start using these words. Famous and professional, I need to use. This famous medium was advertising a weekend workshop on trance. I thought, maybe I need to go to this. Maybe I need to see if I'm doing it right. Maybe I need to see if I need to learn more. And I could do with a weekend away. It was summer, it was in the south of England, and I like to go away for weekends sometimes just to change my energy. Anyway, I got in my car, I drove there, I booked into a hotel, stayed the night. The workshop was the next morning. I drove there. All these quite young people, actually. I think I was probably one of the oldest then. And I'm talking, oh, good few years ago. So I published my book in 2017, and it was probably 3 years after that that I went 20. No, that doesn't make sense because it's 25 now. I think it was before I published my book that I went on the workshop, and it's whilst it was in the process, let me say. Anyway, it doesn't matter when. I went to this workshop, and he was telling us about himself for a long time. He then told us about trance. He then lined the chairs up, and I think 8 of us sat in these chairs. I was one of them. Now, I know that I went into trance. I know that I went deep, and I know that I was receiving information. Anyway, when it was time to come back, I could hear his voice, so I brought myself back. And he said to me that I wasn't doing it correctly. He praised everyone else and said, "You're not doing that correctly." I said, "Why not?" He said, "Because your head fell forward and the spirits would have lifted your head up if you were doing it correctly." I pondered that one. If the spirit are giving me a trance and my head goes forward, then that's okay, because my head went forward. I was comfortable. I stayed there. I went very deep and I got what I needed. So I felt uncomfortable with him, 1, singling me out, 2, telling me I was doing it wrong when there's no right or wrong with this sort of work, and 3, I felt like he was sniggering. I don't know. There was just something. Anyway, everyone else took turns, so we watched other people do theirs. None of them went deep because they were conscious of holding their head up high. If you're conscious of holding your head up, you're not going deep into trance, in my opinion. So anyway, we then sat round in a semicircle with him at the head of the circle, and he started to tell us stories about his mediumship. And he told us one, this sticks in my mind so strongly, about when he was somewhere talking to an audience. He gave this lady a message from her husband. It made her cry. He felt good, but he couldn't get anything else, so he felt bad. And I sat there and I thought, you're missing the bloody point here. The point is, you've given exactly what that lady needed. And I couldn't keep my mouth shut. I just could not keep my mouth shut. So I said, well, did you not realise that you gave her what she needed? She didn't need anything else. If she did, the spirits would have given it to you, or her husband would have given you more. And he just stood there and he looked at me and he said, well, I didn't really think of it like that. Because, why didn't he think of it like that? Because he was working from ego. His ego wanted him to say all this other information when really he'd given her such a special message. And because his ego was so big, he couldn't see it. And I remember that to this day. Whenever I think about trance or think about anyone learning trance, it's not about you. It's about what's coming through you. And I never ever went onto any other workshops again. And what I've found also in the past, when I've done the odd workshop, it's always a clarification workshop that what I'm doing is right. So yeah, if you're guided to go on something, go and see what happens. So I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear about any unexplained presences you've received or a sign from a loved one that's passed. Like I said, these moments can be really subtle, but what have you felt? What have you felt? Share it with me, and I can use it in one of my podcasts later. I want to thank you so much as we wrap up today's episode. I want to thank you for joining me on this exploration of mediumship. We've covered what mediumship is, cleared up a few common misconceptions, and started laying the foundation for connecting to spirit. I've told you about my workshops, and you can find out more about those on johnmayfield.com, workshops and events if you want to see where I am. I have lots of different little workshops that I do, because all the small workshops help you to build your whole. In part 2, I'm going to go a little deeper. Part 2 of these episodes, I'm going to go a little deeper into mediumship. I'll share some practical exercises that you can try and discuss how to overcome challenges, although I've discussed some of that now. And I'm also going to be delivering a message, a psychic medium message through the live. So it will be, can you take it? Is that message for you? So that will be something to tune in for. And then I am going to make a number 3, and I'm going to bring people in. And I've advertised on my Facebook, John Mayfield's page, if anyone wants to come on my podcast just for the to have a reading, to have a mediumship message, psychic message given to you. I'll record it, and that will be the podcast. And I'll include the interaction, but I'm also going to tell you what I'm feeling and how I'm giving that message. So that will be part 3. Now, if you want to be part of that, find my John Mayfield's page on Facebook and find the post where I'm asking for names. I'm still asking for names, so I haven't decided who they're going to be yet, who it's going to be, who's going to come on. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next episodes, of course. And if you find this episode helpful, please share it out with someone who might benefit from hearing it. Thank you for listening, and I can't wait to connect with part 2 and part 3, and something to look out in the future. I'm having a real live shaman coming into the live, and he's going to tell us about the parts of shamanism that he's really, really interested in. He's lived in quite a few different countries. He is quite fascinating to listen to. Don't forget to keep your heart open to the magic of spirit. Hey, thank you for tuning in today. Your support is much appreciated. Please consider leaving a review, sharing on social media, and telling your friends about my podcast. You can also join my newsletter at johnmayfield.com. Remember, take what resonates from Zoetic-chat and enrich your life with wisdom in all areas. And stay tuned for the next episode.